Sports on Tap Summer Spotlight is presented by Raymond Felton State Farm.
Have you compared insurance rates lately? Are you satisfied with your current insurance provider? If not, look no further than Ray Felton State Farm, a proud sponsor of Sports on Tap. For a free quote, call his office at 234-284-2996 or visit him online at rayfelton.com.
Whether you're hosting a corporate event, wedding, conference, concert, or any other special gathering, our comprehensive range of services will exceed your expectations and elevate your event to new heights. RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
Hand-and-built leather goods. Leather goods built for life. Made by hand in the USA, all goods are made with veg-tanned leather. Some of the best quality around and made by a U.S. veteran. Check out their website, www.handbuiltleather.com.
We've got the experience, the passion, and the beach to make your event a smash hit. Whether it's a romantic wedding, a lively sports venue, or a rocking high school dance, Troutland Entertainment has you covered. Contact them at 330-414-4261 or email them at troutlandent@gmail.com. That's troutlandent@gmail.com.
And welcome, everybody, to Sports on Tap Summer Spotlight. My name is Ed Dick, alongside Rob Troutman, Josh Jeffy, Noah Jacobson. Sean Duffy is out on assignments. You are watching this live on our YouTube page, so Sports on Tap. Make sure you like and subscribe to our page. Get the notifications when we're about to go online and go on the air. We are also on Twitter at SOT Podcast. Check us out on Spotify to be able to listen to our show. Hi, son. We have our Facebook page, Sports on Tap. And of course, our website, sportsontap.podcast.com. Any sort of comments, questions, pronunciations, or suggestions can be sent care of Rob Troutman at sportsontappodcast@gmail.com. All right, we're getting back into the high school football realm this week. We've had some great summer spotlights up to this point, but we're going to get back to our bread and butter with the high school football season. We will have two tremendous guests on our show. The first of which is waiting for us right here. Just a little bit later, we will have Coach Charles Saulter from Twinsburg joining us. They had a very successful season in his second season at the helm for the Twinsburg Tigers. But right now, we are joined by the head coach of the Berea-Midpark Titans. I believe he's entering his 9th year as the head coach. Eighth year. Sorry, my fault. I got my numbers.
Not that old, Ed. Come on, man. Give me a year.
No kidding.
I still can't believe it's 8 years, though. I mean, what?
I know.
Where did those 8 years go?
8 years. This is the. All right, hey, Eddie. Daddy actually has to do a show.
Hello.
We just saw.
Eddie. Hello.
He's excited. We saw Coach Hunek at the Brunswick Parade yesterday.
We did.
Nice.
I was all excited about that.
The Cub Scout action.
Coach Hunek of the Berea-Midpark Titans. Last year, hosted the playoff game for the first time since Coach has been in charge. They beat Massillon Jackson, had a tough one against Cleveland Heights, much like many other teams. But they did avenge a loss to Massillon Jackson the previous year. So, Coach, second place in the SWC. And, Coach, thanks for taking the time as always. Super friend of show status. How's the offseason going for you?
Awesome. Oh, it's been great. A little toasty today, but other than that, it's been a really good off season. I couldn't ask for better with the kids, with the coaches right now. It's going great.
Hey, Coach, last year you finished second in the SWC, best finish since you've been at the helm.
Yep.
A big win against Olmsted Falls, and pretty much took care of business against everybody else, except for the Avon teams. Again, those teams have been on top for a while, and for Berea-Midpark to crack that top 3 echelon. What are some of the things that you're looking for this year to build on that success from last year?
Well, I think, the nice thing with it being year 8, Ed, is that it's
Coach, the gray hair threw me off.
Is that the culture's pretty established by now, so it's So that is one thing that, for the most part, our kids, it becomes easier every year. Of course, every year you're going to have, some challenges. That's the way the game works. And that's kind of the fun part of it, right? If it was the same every year, it'd be boring. But, the culture is pretty well established. The coaches are running the culture, the kids are. So it makes those little things a lot easier. You have to focus on the football and really, make sure we're tuning up and getting our group to be as good as they could possibly be for week 1 against Brunswick. So that the offseason is going great. The fact that we've had the best, we're coming off the best season the school's ever had with regards to a home playoff win, in regards to finishing the SWC, since with the SWC the way it's constituted right now, are really good things. And we have a ton of kids coming back, which is great. 6 on both sides of each side of the football, and so kind of really set up for success this year, and hoping to have a great start.
Yeah, Coach, I was going to lead into that. What kind of buy-in now are you getting with the offseason, and who are some of those, kids that are you
Sure.
looking this year to step up to be, take on that leadership role and probably have already?
Yeah, sure, Josh. The first thing I would say is that this is the most kids we've had in our varsity football program since the school's been around. So that's a cool thing in and of itself. I mean, we'll have about I think 90 kids on the roster, so that's a big jump for us, which is awesome. So obviously success is a big part of that, right? I mean, it's tough to get kids out to play if your team's not doing well. So that's a big part, and football's a game of attrition. So the more kids we have, the more options you have to put kids on the field, the more depth you have. It's important. That's the reason why schools like Avon consistently are on top of the SWC, is because they have a depth that they can pull from and build from every year. So that's what we're trying to get to, right? And pretty happy with where that's at right now. The kids that we have coming back, we have really a great group at key positions. I'll start with our quarterback, Danny Bowser. Once he became our starter last year is really where we started to turn it up offensively and become a better football team. At the same time, moving Maddox Swisher, who was a senior, to safety, helped us quite a bit. So him coming back is a huge thing for us. For me and what we do on offense, having a quarterback come back that's comfortable in what we do in our system is a big plus from the beginning of the season. So that's number one. Number two, on the offensive side, is the fact that we return our entire offensive line. Barring one young man who will be a sophomore who's going to come in and play for us, Gabe Bagger, who'll play guard for us, who's a 6'4", 280-pound kid who we expect big things of. The rest of our offensive line all returns. So they're all returning starters. And that's huge. If your quarterback and offensive line are coming back, that sets the stage for you offensively pretty well. And then the kids that we have coming in at receiver, we think will fill in nicely for the kids that are leaving. Even though we had 2 kids in Devin Zahersky and Austin Clay that are Power 5 football players and left for Cincinnati and Michigan State respectively, we think the kids we have coming up are really, really talented and are going to fill their shoes nicely moving forward. Defensively, our whole linebacker core comes back, which is huge. We made a couple adjustments in what we're doing. We moved our leading tackler, Mitchell Hausler, to be our safety now. Our defensive coordinator went to take a job at Elyria. He's the head coach at Elyria right now, Matt Wilson, which is awesome for him. But seeing that we needed a head of void defensive coordinator, I elevated Dan Zolkowski, who's been our longtime D-line coach, done a great job developing our D-line to be the defensive coordinator. With the system we're going to run, our safety's our guy. So we had to put our best player on defense there, and Mitchell's that kid. And so him being a returner running the show is huge. Jake Sekula, Michael Talani, Naif Shaheen, and Austin LaForce are all coming back at linebacker for us. So that's huge. And then Justin McDonough, who will come back at one of our down safeties. And so we'll replace our corners, and replace our other safety, which will be challenging, but I think the kids that we have are going to be exceptional in those spots. So I feel really confident about where we're at, where our kids are at. We feel like we're way ahead of where we normally at this time because our system's in, because our culture's in, and because we have returning kids. So it's nice to get to focus on some of the kids that are new, specifically in positions, but also to have that leadership we have from kids like Mason Zahersky, who's been around, be a 3-year starter. Cal Maloney's a returning starter at the other tackle for us, in that linebacking core. It makes life a lot simpler as a head coach, I'll tell you that much, which is really nice.
Coach, thank you again for taking the time and joining us tonight. One of the things that really sticks out to me is that you were able to coach the Titans girls flag football team. And I get to see the excitement that they have whenever they get the score of a touchdown or every play that they're in, and that they are able to compete with some of the other teams like at Cleveland Brown Stadium. And I even saw some of the Cleveland Browns players, Greg Newsom and Tony Fields, coming out. Just kind of talk about how that program kind of started out, and how important is it for girls and young women in general to able to compete with some of the younger teams in like Northeast Ohio?
Well, Northeast Ohio seems to be the boom area for flag football right now. It seems to be the area with the most teams. It was a blast. I've never coached girls before. I have a daughter that does gymnastics and softball, and I would hope she's a pretty coachable athlete, but it sure is different to coach girls. I mean, but they were awesome. Mr. Justice, our AD, really kind of spearheaded starting a team, and having a good relationship we have with the Cleveland Browns. They brought it up to us a few times, and he asked me if I wanted to coach, and I figure what way to make the off season go a little faster than coach. Of course, I had to clear it with the boss at home first, but once she was in, it took off, and I was lucky enough to have a couple of my coaches on my coaching staff coach with me. Our athletic director, like I said, Mr. Justice, coached with me as well, which was a blast because I got to know him a little bit more and hang out. And we really had a great group. We ended up having 3 teams, 2 teams, then a JV team kind of that rotated in. And we played a ton of games. We had 45 girls come out, which is awesome. And I think it'll only continue to grow at our school. We had a lot of success this year in our first year, and it was a blast. I mean, it was a lot of fun. Made me rethink how I coach some stuff. And really made me focus on what was fun about football instead of all the stuff you stress about on a daily basis as a head coach for I guess the boys team. So it was really nice. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, coach, it's the off season. You're in your 8th season, which is crazy to believe because I know I made sure I said 8th season there, but it's crazy that it's your 8th season because I remember when you just got the head coaching job there and it was your first season. Going into this off season, has anything changed or have you learned anything from obviously from year 1 and 2 and even before that, or, going into any season, you're going to learn from the past season. Is there anything in your 8th season that you're like, wow, I think I'm going to change it up a little bit, what I do this off season, whether it's lifting, figuring out, I always feel like, is it tough for a coach to figure out, when you get new kids coming out, what position they'd be good at? I always feel like that'd be a tough thing to do when you have a lot of kids.
First of all, God, I hope in my 8th year I'm gotten better than I did in my first year because I had a lot to learn. There's no doubt, and I was very lucky to have parents and a school and players that were patient with me and coaches as I learned kind of the ropes of being a head coach. Because you can say whatever you want about when you're a coordinator or guy about it should have been done this way or it should have been done that way, but until you're the guy, it's all words and it's nice. It's like being the backup quarterback, right? It all sounds great until you have to get on the field. So. That's a great question about new kids playing football. I mean, we got a ton of them this year, and figuring out where they play is super challenging. I mean, you would think that you would just say, hey, that kid's a DB, and you'd put him there. Next thing you know, he's terrible at DB because he has no hips, and and you can't tell in the weight room completely, right? I mean, we do a ton of running and change of direction, but at the end of the day, we're inside. You don't really know until you get outside. So what we do, I don't know if it's the answer, but I let kids play what they want to start, with the clear understanding that, hey, if it doesn't work out, understand we're going to put you where it's best for yourself, for you to be successful, and for the team. Because, year 8, you finally figure out that kids aren't going to enjoy it if you tell a kid that thinks he's a wideout that he's playing left tackle. I mean, you can say whatever you want to the kid. He's just not going to enjoy doing it. He's not going to put his full effort in. He's not going to be any good at it, and the same thing goes from a guy that thinks he can play left tackle as a wideout, So I think letting the kids choose first is always important, but having them also understand that if we make a change, here's the reason why. We think it's going to help you be a better player and be out on the field, and it's also going to make our team better. So clear communication, that stuff is number one, and that's the thing I've learned the most, I think, in my 8th year, is being very clear with communication. At times when I thought I might have been a little too harsh or mean to tell a player or a parent exactly where they're at, I think now parents appreciate and players that clarity. That as long as you make it clear as to why, and it's always for the best interest of the kid, those things go a little easier than I thought they would in the past. You're always trying to sugarcoat things. Now I try to be not blunt in a bad way, but honest, a little bit more than I had in the past, which helps. Yeah, it's about change up the weight room and things like that. Again, I'm kind of learning this through the girls flag team too, with how long we practiced, and we didn't practice very long, that, in year 8, our kids really know what they're doing. They, even defensively, although we're switching stuff up, they're picking it up pretty quickly. We really try to cut down the time we spend with the kids. I mean, a lot more than I'm comfortable with, to be completely honest, but it's my idea. So in order to keep our kids as fresh as possible and enjoying football as much as possible, all these studies are coming out that, about overworking, overtaxing kids and having them be fast on game days. And I was lucky enough to coach in the North-South game this year and be the offensive coordinator for the North team. By the way, beat the crap out of South team, which was awesome. And the game ended in a bench clearing brawl, which is always the way you should end one of those games. So I was really lucky to coach with Coach Moore, who I'd coached with in the past, as you guys know, at Massillon and at Massillon. So it was fun to be back there and hang out with their coaches. Also, the guy you're having on next, my dude Chuck, he coached in the game with me, so we became good buddies through that process, which was pretty cool. But through that, I got the opportunity to talk to a lot of head coaches and how they do things different than how we do things, and really took the time to think about it, talk to our coaching staff, and we're really trying to do everything we do to keep it succinct with our kids, efficient, and make them play fast and then be done. Do you know what I mean, with the day? Even when we get into what we used to call double sessions, I mean, we'll go one session. I'll try to get the kids out before the heat of the day so that when we get to week 1, they're not sick of hearing my voice. They're still hungry to get on the field. And there's an enthusiasm to what they're doing. And we see that right now. I mean, they're fresh. They love being there, I think, the kids. And it's translated into really efficient and good practices. I mean, we're really, I think, past to the age in football where you want to grind kids to the ground, where you want to build toughness through running 100 gassers. I mean, I'm bought into the idea that really doesn't translate to being a good football team. We try to do things that really translate to what happens on the field, and also a focus on keeping our kids' bodies fresh and keeping them as fast as we can. So I think we're a much faster football team than we've been in the past, whether it be the way we run stuff or how fast our kids are. But we're also a much stronger team because our strength coach does an excellent job. Frank Rusecki does a great job with our kids, and we're not only a stronger team, but a much faster team than what we've been in the past. So I'm really excited to see us actually play ball on Friday nights now.
We're joined by Berea-Midpark Titans head coach Jon Hunek. Coach, as you mentioned, I think you made a lot of, in my opinion, thinking about what you're talking about, being as tenured as you are, and learning and going through all those different learning experiences, and how you've built the program up. I have to think that because of the success your team has had, especially in more recent years, and the longevity of which you've been there, I think it gives you a little bit more leeway to be able to have some of those tougher conversations. It's not just a coach who thinks he knows more than everybody else. Even though that is probably part of what your job is to have that knowledge, but it is the communication part of it. No question about that. Now, Coach, let's talk about the non-conference schedule. We usually talk about that with you before you get to the SWC. You got Brunswick, Nordonia, and Strongsville. Really teams that are close in proximity, similar demographic, similar size. And Brunswick finally getting back on the schedule with Berea-Midpark, in my opinion, is a great thing. Old Pioneer Conference rivals. So I'm glad that we're back. That we're back with that game going on again. Not in the playoff setting where you beat Brunswick. But they have a new coach, Coach Carter. I know Brunswick's week 1 for you. I know you're going through the rest of your paces from the scrimmage end of it, but I have to think that Brunswick is obviously on your guys' mind. Without getting into too much of it, or even if you haven't fully prepared for them, what are you looking for from Brunswick that's being led under completely new leadership?
And I think Rob's stuff kind of asked how I'd changed, during this time. It was interesting when we lost our defensive coordinator, which went on to have a head coaching job, which is awesome. It allowed me to kind of reevaluate how I think importance of everything we do, and also made me kind of reevaluate myself and what I see is important from a team that I'm running. Matt Wilson, our defensive coordinator, I had a really good relationship, and Matt was kind of always my devil's advocate for stuff. And it's interesting not having him there anymore. I kind of almost feel a little unfettered with how I want to do things. He was kind of my conscience, and now I don't have a conscience anymore. So that kind of means we're kind of be what I would hope, we would be on offense in the past in all facets of what we do. So we're going to be a team that's hyper aggressive, really gambles a lot and really tries to get after people and is unique in a lot of things we do, And I think, like you said, having some history here and having some experience, I think gives me a little bit of clout. So I think that allows me kind of to finally say, hey, this is how I want to do things. And I have a coaching staff that's bought into that. A lot of the ideas come from them. So I think, we're throwing caution to the wind and not saying there's no longer that worry of, oh my God, like if we do some stuff that's out there and it doesn't look good, I'm going to be out of here pretty quick. I feel comfortable. Not that it's not still a high pressure job where I want to win football games, but I feel very confident in what we do and who we are. And going back to that, like you just said, I'm kind of working my way back to those first 3 games, buddy. Don't worry.
All good.
Is that, we're, to be completely honest, and I don't mean to sound like arrogant in any way, we're going to do what we do. I mean, I'm trying to sell the kids on this too and the coaches. Like I could really, and it's tough because out of those 3, 2 of those 3 guys are new coaches at those schools. So if I spend my time wasting my time imagining what they could possibly do, that's going to do nothing for me and nothing for my football team. So on the other hand, what has been successful for us, I've noticed kind of over the last few years when we had success, is when we really give 2 you-know-whats about what the other team does, and we focus on executing what we do really, really well. And I think that we're on that point now on offense and now with the defense and with the special teams. Coach Rivera, special teams coordinator, does an awesome job. We're going to get really good at what we do, and we're going to make sure the other team's got to worry about us a lot more than we got to worry about them. And I think that's going to translate to being successful on the field. And that's no knock on any of those guys we play. They're great coaches, and I'm excited to play them. But I'll pull my hair out, to be way grayer than it is, which is almost completely gray as it is. It's 8 years of Berea. They're like presidential years.
Hey, at least you still have it. That's
there
you go.
Always a positive.
Fair point. But I mean, we're gonna focus on what we do, and the tweaks and the differences that we put in this year. We're gonna focus on doing them really, really well, and doing them at a high level and doing them fast. And to me, that's gonna make us a good football team. Like I said, on the other hand, Coach Fox Nordoni does an awesome job. This is our last year of their contract with them, so I sure as heck would like to get them before we're done with them. So, that our focus is definitely going to be on being great out of week 1, 2, and 3, and it's going to start with playing Brunswick week 1. We're lucky enough to play them at home at our place where we've had a lot of success lately. It's kind of become a home to us now. We've tweaked some things thanks to the help from our athletic director, where we've kind of made parts of it like ours, and I think that's translated to success at home for us. So I'm excited. We got some new fits to come out with, our helmets changing. We got some new jerseys rolling out with week 1. So our kids will be hyped, and I think that it'll be pretty exciting. So I'm looking forward to those games for sure.
No doubt, Coach. We're looking forward to seeing how the Titans are going to do this year. I know we will be out at some games for Berea-Midpark, and those of you that are paying attention that are watching this, make sure you're following us on Twitter and check out our website to find out when and where we're going to be as the high school season starts. Coach, thanks again for taking the time to join us. Have a great rest of your off season, and good luck to you this year.
Oh, I really appreciate you guys having me on. It means the world to me. I love doing it. And my son wasn't with me today, so we're leaving a softball game.
Man.
Right now. Well, we had a softball game today. My daughter played softball, and I'm in Grafton. And so it's getting a little late, and he's got stuff in the morning. So I stayed in the car to do my interview with you guys, and I sent the boy home. So he was disappointed. He wanted to make sure he said hi because he was kind of not in the best mood that he couldn't at least peek his head in here. So
it's a tradition, I think, almost at this point.
So hopefully it's not
starting back in COVID.
Oh, I saw. I saw Dom yesterday, so we'll count that.
You did in the parade, so there we go. We'll make it a wash.
That works.
No, I really appreciate you guys having me on. You guys do such an awesome job with everything in the area. I mean, I follow you guys the whole year with everything else you do. I know my dad will be watching this about 5 times in a row, critiquing my responses and tell me what an idiot I sound like. So that'll be the highlight of my evening tonight. On my way home, I'm sure I'll get that call and he'll say all the dumb stuff I said. But
well, if he has any issues, though, just tell him to email Sean Duffy at Sports on Tap.
All right. But I do appreciate you guys having me on. I mean, I just want to say one more time how grateful I am to be the head coach at Berea-Midpark High School and have the kids I have. And I'm lucky to have an awesome coaching staff, a great administration that supports us. So I can't wait to do it with all of them this year again, year 8. And hopefully, again, trump last year is the best year we've had in the history of our school. So it'll be exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks,
Absolutely.
Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Coach, much appreciated as always.
Great talking to you, Coach.
Thanks for
Enjoy
having
the
me,
off
Coach.
season.
Oh, I will. I will. That's no doubt about that. You guys have a great one.
You too.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Bye.
That is Coach Jon Hunek from the Berea-Midpark Titans. They are going to be lining up against the Brunswick Blue Devils in the first week of the high school football season. The game will take place at Finney Stadium in Berea, Ohio. The campus of Baldwin-Wallace University. It's really weird calling that university. But just a tremendous, a coach who's well tenured and a program that is certainly on the rise. They got the numbers, they got the athletes. It's just a matter, now it's a matter of, can they get the Avons? Can they get the Avon Lakes? Can they consistently break through in that upper echelon of the SWC? And they have a really, really tough non-conference schedule to help them prepare for that. We will be joined here shortly by Twinsburg head coach Charles Saulter. If he, I know he was on a little bit earlier with us. We'll see if he's popping on here soon.
Yeah, Coach, he is ready.
There we go.
If we're ready for him. See here.
We're just waiting for Coach Saulter. This will be his, I believe, third year. I hope I didn't mess that up. My stats haven't been really good so far today. It's not very often I'm the one being corrected, but I certainly appreciate it. Coach Saulter, welcome back to the show. He is approaching friend of show status. The Twinsburg Tigers beat Nordonia in the first round of the playoffs last year. They avenged an earlier loss of the season, and they had a really tough game against a very, very good Riverside team. And they got a lot of positive momentum going their way. Coach Saulter from the Twinsburg Tigers joins us. Coach, how you doing tonight?
Good, guys. How we doing? Good to see everybody.
Good to see you as well. I the familiar wall art. I was hoping we were going to see that again this year.
It's my lucky spot, man. It's definitely my lucky spot here.
It's fantastic, Coach. How's the offseason going for you?
Things are going well. We had our first camp day today, so we're getting rocking and rolling. We were at it a little bit in June, mainly in the weight room and that sort of thing. So now we're out in the field, and guys are in helmets. We got our first 7 on Friday, and we're gonna be, ready to go.
Hey, Coach, before we kind of look forward, I want to look backwards because I was at that playoff game last year against Nordonia, and just towards the second half of the season, you guys really picked it up. You played real consistent. You played really well, winning ball, and then that kind of transferred into the playoffs and to get that victory over Nordonia. Just kind of rehash that a bit, how that affected you, how that affected your players in your program. I know the parents that you had in the stands, you had a ton of support. Just kind of relive for us, if you can, just for a moment, how that felt for you that day.
Yeah, I mean, it was a monumental day for our program, and I say that to say that this program just been down for some time and needed a win like that, and I think the stars really aligned for us on that night. Nordonia is a really good program; they've got a really good head coach, I think as we got into the second half of that season, as you mentioned there, we had those 3 tough losses to Wadsworth, Hudson, and Nordonia. And then we really kind of started to rally after that. We felt like we had a really strong momentum going into week 11. And so once we got there, I'll be honest with you, we were the 12th seed and they were the 5 seed. So we weren't picked to win the game by many. But Twinsburg came out and they showed out, and they were so happy to be back in the playoffs for the first time in 13 years or so. And I just felt like it was going to be a magical night for us, and our kids were really prepared. I just felt like we had a really great week of practice that week, and I just saw something in their eyes at the start of that game that they really believed that we could get the job done. And even when we went down in the third quarter there, we were down at halftime and we went down again in the third quarter. Nobody panicked. Okay. Nobody was rattled. And you could just tell that the culture had shifted in the fact that had it been the year before or, that sort of thing, once we got down, it would have been a situation of, well, we tried. And we're just not going to maybe get it done tonight, but we made it here, and that just wasn't good enough for our guys anymore. And so it was just an amazing night. It's changed things for us. And guys, when you go over and you have a win like that versus a very formidable opponent like that, it really can show. It really starts to show where your program's at and where it's headed.
Coach, thank you again for taking the time and joining us tonight. One of the things that really sticks out to me is that Cleveland Heights' offensive coordinator, Kahari Hicks, came into your weight room one day, and he presented you with the Build a Bridge Coach of the Year award, and I could just see the clap from your players and the excitement they had. Just kind of talk about how special it was to win that award and kind of like the credit that goes to your players as well with the hard work they had.
Yeah, you know what? Any award I get, I always tell guys that, anything that goes wrong, I always blame myself. It's all on me. It always falls on me. But any award I get, really, my name's on the plaque. But it really is a testament to our staff. It's a testament to our kids and all that, and all that they do. And Coach Hick's a good friend of mine. So it was special to share that moment with him, and I was honored to receive that award. I think it's an amazing award. And just to share it with our kids, to share it in the weight room. Those guys are in there on I don't remember what month it was, February, March, something like that. It's cold outside. It's 30, 40 guys in the weight room that's in there sweating and trying to, get themselves better for a season that feels like it's so far away. So just be able to stop and share that moment with them was an amazing time, honestly. So, I mean, I'm so thankful for the award, but so thankful for our football staff and all the things that they do for our kids. We have a phenomenal staff, and I love going to work with those guys every day. I can't really even call it work.
Yeah, Coach, I mean, what a great season you had last year. I mean, I felt like your team really took a huge step forward for you last year. And as a coach, I know, we talked to you last year about learning and you communicate with other coaches and you learn a lot of different things. And I think Coach Hunek, before you even said the same thing, that you guys coached on the All-Star game and you guys are buddies now and you guys talk, a little bit of philosophy about what you do with your program, what he does with his. Is there anything with your program after last year going to the playoffs that you learned and you thought was really valuable? Obviously going to the playoffs, that's huge, and it's a different environment in the playoffs. But as a program, do you feel like you really learned something from last year's experience?
Yeah, you know what? I think every year that you are in this profession as a head coach, you learn just new lessons that come along every single season. Honestly, you learn to delegate a little bit more. You learn that hey, I don't have to be at every single session. I don't have to run every single drill and that sort of thing. And I'm not normally that guy, anyways. But I really start to realize how good our staff really is, honestly. And honestly, I really let those guys coach. They run it. I've really learned to rely more, honestly, even going on a Friday night. I used to be a little bit militant about play calling. I didn't always listen to everybody when I was, year one, maybe one in a year two as a head coach. Now I want suggestions. And a lot of those calls that, I may have called them, but, I've got 3 plays that stick out in my mind that, I didn't know, exactly what I wanted to do here. And I said, Coach Webster, what do you want to do? And he called, the sail route, and that led to the touchdown. So it's a few things that you realize that, hey, listen, you could depend on these guys that you have. You're only going to be as good as the staff that you really have with everyone. Did a cat just walk past your computer there? Okay. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't just me.
No, that was a cat.
What was that, you, Ed?
Yeah.
I saw a tail and I was like, I don't.
If it's not my 5-year-old son, it's my 10-year-old cat.
Well, we're talking to the head coach of the Tigers, so your cat got excited.
Here we go. We're in the feline family here. We're all friends. We're all friends.
That's funny.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Coach. You're on a roll there. Talking with Coach Saulter of Twinsburg Tigers. Coach, I'm going to get back to that. As Coach Hunek, as Robin mentioned, it seems the longer that you're in your role, and especially at the similar program, it makes it a little bit easier to be able to, I want to say, for maybe lack of a better term, be more secure and being able to delegate and say, if I'm going to go down, I'm going to go down swinging my way, instead of, whereas you kind of at the thought now of being more like, all right, I'm cool where I'm at. Let's bring some other people in on this and to see what we all can accomplish.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're absolutely right. And every year I don't have a lot of turnover on my staff. Actually, I've probably lost and this is year 3. I think maybe 3 guys have left since then. We're actually going to get a guy back that we had last year, and coaching our quarterbacks. But I always get younger guys that are on staff, and I ask them, at the start of the year or when I hire them, like, what do you want to do in this profession? Do you want to grow in this? Do you want to stay in this role that you're in? Do you want to become a coordinator? Do you want to become a head coach? And a lot of them say, I want to become a head coach. And I always ask, like, are you sure you want to become a head coach? It's not. It may not be all what it's cracked up to be, but The younger guys, you really realize, like, I have started. I'm always coaching our players. I'm always coaching our players and doing what we need to do. But you start coaching some of the younger guys on staff too, and trying to get them to where they want to go. Because somebody had to do that for me to get me here. I had to depend and ask questions and lean on guys and lean on older guys that have been in the profession longer than I had to, because I knew I wanted what route I wanted to take. So I really start to, spend some time with those younger coaches and say, hey, listen, you go run this. And it's okay. Go make a mistake. If you make a mistake, that's good. Right now, let's learn from the mistake. Let's fix it, and get better as a coach here. So I think, you start to realize, little things such as that as you continue to, progress in this profession.
Coach, I want to quickly talk about, your quarterback coming back, Joey Pollock. He's really, just going over Twitter or X, however you want to call it, but just scrolling through, I always see him pop up, and he's just working. So I know you're expecting big things from him, but what can we expect from him? The guys like us that cover, fans that go and watch him. What kind of quarterback are you looking for him to be this year?
I can't say enough. There's not enough time for me to talk about the leadership and the development of the young man that Joey Pollock has developed into. He's a team captain for us. He's going to be a 2-year team captain for us. He works as hard as anybody else that I've ever been around. He's a student of the game. He does everything that he can to make himself better. And what he's done now and coming into his senior year, and what I love the most is that he's focused on a lot of other players. Right. And so just today in camp, I listen, and, we might have guys that signal from the huddle and they call the play in that's scripted and whatnot. And I like to just listen and what's said into the huddle, and he's able to get in the huddle now and tell everybody what they're doing. Right now, he knows what's going on up front. Now he's even more savvy in that. And really the game has slowed down for him. But, not to mention all the great things that he does on the field, but he's really a fantastic student. He's a National Honor Society guy. He's just a phenomenal young man, and that goes out to his parents. I mean, his mom is the president of our Gridiron Club. His dad is at every game, and they're super close with him. So I mean, he comes from just a great family, and I love those guys. I mean, he is developed into an amazing quarterback, and I'll be honest with you, he's the best quarterback I've been around. As a whole. And I think he's going to have a phenomenal season. We have great receivers. We have some depth at that position. We have some size up front. He's one of the strongest kids on the team. He can run the football. He can escape out of the pocket. He can make every single throw that you want him to make. And now we have the ability to, give him some freedom at the line to check out of things and check into the right play and that sort of thing. So it's his offense. I might call it, but he runs the show.
Coach, we're just 45 days away from the start of the 2024 season, and you guys open up with a familiar face, the Suburban League America Conference champion, Aurora Agreement, and a team that you faced and lost 17-7 last year. What were some of the biggest takeaways that you could take from that game as you get ready to prepare for the Week 1 season coming up next month?
Well, I think the biggest thing is you got to finish. We were up 7-0 at halftime, and we weren't taking ourselves too seriously here, but I think our guys were excited. And I mean, a lot of those guys have never been up. They've never led in the game versus Aurora. And we're Ray in that hostile environment. And I think really the biggest thing with that is you got to finish. I can't praise Coach Mahalik and the things that he's done over at Aurora for so many years. Even when you think, well, they've lost, 15 guys, 16 starters, 17, starters, they come back and they're sometimes even better. Like, how is that even possible? But it just is a testament to, they just reload, and they reload because of the culture that he's instilled. Right. And it didn't happen overnight, but he's been there, and he has been a pillar to that program. And when you're coming out playing Aurora, I always say, like, it's going to be one of the more physical football games that you're going to play. That's just the style of football that they play. And they're a very respectable opponent. We look forward to playing them at our place Week 1 here. And, I mean, that's you come out on top versus Aurora. To me, you're looking at having a pretty daggone good season.
Yeah, Coach, talk a little bit about some of the players that are going to come back this year that you're looking forward to having good seasons, and even maybe some of the younger guys that that you've seen this off season that have put in the time that you think can make the jump up to Friday nights.
Yeah, I mean, well, some of the guys that are coming back that did some really good things for us last year. Obviously, our quarterback Joey Pollock, JD Okuma, who has gotten taller and has gotten thicker there, and he's going to be he's going to play our H for us and maybe play a little defense for us. He started for us as a sophomore from week 2 on in the season. Look for him to grab a great season. Josh Collins is probably going to play both sides of the ball. He started at tight end for us last year. Probably play a little bit more on defense. Christian Dunbar, who played DN for us, that's going to move over to middle linebacker this year for us, and some newcomers that I think that are going to be juniors that are going to have really, really good seasons. Rob Herndon, who's a 6'2" receiver, Joe Farrell, who's a 205, 210 pound back. Those guys, and then up front, with the addition of Ellery Jiho and Will Cunningham, who started as sophomore tackles for us. Ellery right tackle, Will at left tackle. They're back for their junior year campaigns, and they're bigger, stronger in the weight room. And then you're going to add in, Paul and Rathbone and those guys. And I really believe they're gonna be solid. They're gonna be sophomores this year. So we're gonna be a little bit on the younger side, offensive line wise, but I really believe this is going to be one of the better offensive lines that I've been around. Just the work ethic and everything that we have going on with them. And then on the defensive side of the ball, Ball Bueller, I think, is going to have a good year. And Norrell Nichols. These are just some names that are sticking out to me that I think are going to really make some noise for us. Baron Grant, who is going to play strong safety for us this year and play some. He's our backup quarterback, but he's also going to play some slot for us. These are guys that have just worked their tails off in the off season, and now it's great to be able to go out to camp and start to see all of their gains now on the field. So it's been fantastic.
Did you get more kids coming out and playing since your successful season last year? Did you see, maybe some kids that played other sports saying, "Hey, I want to give football a shot"?
We have had some newcomers that are coming out, and some of them are coming out. Some of them are just coming out in the summertime here. We wish we'd have maybe seen them a little bit more in the off season. But we're starting to get some new guys back. We're starting to get some other guys. There's summer baseball still pretty big out here in Twinsburg. Obviously, with going to the state championship, they had a hell of a run there. So we're starting to get some guys that are coming back from summer baseball there. And I think with the addition of Coach Sanders, Coach Dominique Sanders as our new basketball coach, he's one that is a supporter of us as well. So I look forward to having a few more athletic basketball players that are coming out. So our numbers are pretty good. They're not skyrocketing. They're not, I don't have 100 kids 10 through 12, but we'll probably be around 60 to 62 kids 10 through 12 and have around 25 freshmen. So,
Wow.
a pretty solid group there, coming into where, when I first took the job at Twinsburg, I think it was around 40 or 45 kids, 9 through 12 on the team. So we've seen jumps in numbers here. So we're still looking forward to having more guys out for football and coming to join our family there.
Hey, Coach, with that, how important is it then to use the momentum gained from last season with the youth programs and getting the youth program involved with what you guys are doing on the high school level?
Well, that's huge. I can tell you that we've got around 45 kids in our middle school program right now, between 7th and 8th grade, which is really good numbers to me. And even just looking at our 6th grade numbers, I was just in a chat with our youth board. Our 5th and 6th grade numbers are really, really good too. 6th grade numbers around 30, and I think 5th grades in 25 or 30 kids, close to that as well. So I think, you guys know how it goes. When you're having success on Friday nights, it's like the old trickle down effect there.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to be involved with that. So I think when you are having success at our level and the community is more and more involved and more excited about what's going on, you get more and more youth that want to take place too. So we have a tremendous youth board. We have tremendous youth coaches that spend countless hours that aren't recognized. They're not doing a media podcast like myself right now. And those guys are the real heroes of the program, because without them, we don't have, we're not having a feeder system to that. And I think the last part of that too is we're really doing a good job at keeping our kids. And it's so important, and it's hard because you got Nicky Alexander over at Walsh, who's one of the best coaches around in my mind. And so I got to say to them, hey, listen, Walsh, CVCA, and some of the other schools that are around, it's tough because those are great coaches and great programs. But if you want to be successful, we got to keep those kids in house and keep them here in Twinsburg.
Absolutely.
No doubt, Coach. And we're looking forward to seeing how the Tigers do this year. You kick off against Aurora. Very good game last year, and as I know you mentioned, you have them at home this year, and that's gonna be quite a cross division battle, cross city, cross division battle of suburban league teams there. Thanks for taking the time to join us, Coach. We look forward to talking to you and some of your players over the course of the season, and of course, hopefully after a nice playoff run for the Tigers. So thanks again, Coach.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Hey, thanks for everything you guys do. Look forward to hearing all you guys' interviews and talking to you guys soon.
Thanks, Coach. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
That is Coach Charles Saulter of the Twinsburg Tigers. I imagine we may find our way out to a Twinsburg Tigers game at some point this year as well. Josh being the national,
maybe 2 or 3. Who knows?
Yeah, that's right. Josh made the move to the national conference last year. Very, very good conference. That's one near and dear to my heart. So it's two great coaches. Coach Hunek's been around for 8 years, with plenty of experience before that. Coach Saulter, he's coming up on his 3rd year as the head coach at Twinsburg after a few years at Bedford. The biggest thing I think I've noticed for both coaches is how they feel, how they are more delegating responsibilities. They don't feel as if they have to do everything themselves. They trust their staff. They believe in their staff, and in turn, their staff believes in them, and their coach and the players believe in the coaches. That's a hard place to get to, especially in today's age, to get everybody pulling the rope at the same time. And both coaches are very successful at that.
Real quick, Rob.
You want a duel? I was going to say we're going to duel.
I was just going to say in both teams, both their situations, they've had buy-in because the coaches have preached, the players had bought in because they've had success. Success breeds buy-in, and both, and that's from everyone, coaches, players, and parents as well. It's all got to be everyone's got to buy in, and once you have that, you're going to have success. You're going to have consistency. That's another thing, especially in Berea-Midpark's case. They've been very consistent on getting those wins, developing their program, and Twinsburg is on their way to doing that as well. Just seeing how everything after that playoff win last year, and the way that they finished the season, just how things have grown in just that short amount of time. It's a great foundation to build on.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder how hard it is to delegate. When they first started, it's probably like, you kind of want your hand in a little everything. I think a lot of coaches, whether you're college, you're pro, you're high school, how tough is it? I think, it gets tough when maybe you don't trust your coaches as much to start, and then you gain that confidence and gain that trust. And then you can, like Coach Hunek said, he trusts his guys. And I think Coach Saulter's probably at that point, he's been at that point. It almost seems like, he's only in his 3rd year, but he has no problem letting his guys go coach, which I think is probably the toughest thing to do as a head coach, to let go if you don't agree or see something. But I'm sure it helps to have that coach, like Coach Hunek said, Coach Wilson was that guy that kind of talked to him and gave him probably some other ideas, and he'll have to find somebody else to do that now. But, kind of interesting thoughts by both coaches, and both have had success where they're at. And it's interesting as we go along talking to all these different coaches in different conferences and the way they do things. When we coached or talked to Coach Mahalik last year, I thought he was interesting. He's in his 30th season, and very laid back, easy going, but he's run a steady, consistent program, and they've been successful. So I'm sure a lot of coaches probably dive into his mind and ask him a bunch of questions. It's kind of a good thing for these young guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And with both, we see with Berea-Midpark. I mean, that's one thing combined. That's a huge school. So
Oh yeah.
the numbers are there just from a volume standpoint. Twinsburg's a Division II school by enrollment, but coach, as coach mentioned, they were struggling to get team players out to play football.
Yeah.
And Twinsburg was very successful in the 2010s. They had a very good run there, and they fell off a little bit. And Coach Saulter is well on his way to restoring that. Um, it's Coach is right. At the end of the day, when you win on Friday nights, it trickles down to the youth programs. It trickles down to the middle school programs. The community gets involved. All it takes is for a parent to bring their kid to a football game. They see the team win, they get excited, and they want to either come back or they want to be on the field. We've experienced that in the 90s when we were growing up, when Brunswick was very good in 95 and 96. So that's tried and true. That was almost 30 years ago. But it is, but that's,
Oh man.
we're still talking about that now, when we're into our 40s. So, I think that's something that'll always reign. You win on Friday nights and you have sustained winning on Friday nights. That's going to help. That helps everybody out. It helps everybody from the top down. And both programs are well on their way to establishing that for 2024. All right. That's going to do it for us tonight. Who do we have? Who do we have on tap for next week, or do we have we sorted that out? Or do we need to point everybody to our website and our Twitter page?
Yeah, we could do that. We do have one guest coming. I don't know if you want to just put it on the website and have people go there. But so far we do have one guest confirmed, and we're working on one other. So we'll see.
All right. Well, check out Sports on Tap podcast.com when we get for our next podcast. Also follow us on Twitter at SOT Podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Get the notifications when you're about to get online. Make sure you follow us on, you can listen to us on Spotify. Check us out on Facebook. I didn't mention Threads earlier. I don't know if we still do that, but that's at SOT_podcasts. And questions, concerns, corrections, more specifically. Make sure you send the corrections care of Ed Dick at sportsontap@gmail.com to maybe I'll have my other cat will walk by at some point here. But we want to thank Coach Hunek and Coach Saulter.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening to us, and we'll be back next week for another session of our Sports on Tap Summer Spotlight. Stay tuned for a word from our sponsors, and we'll see you on the for Rob Troutman, Josh Jeffy, Noah Jacobson, and Sean Duffy. My name is Ed Dick, and we'll see you on the other side.
Sports on Tap Summer Spotlight is presented by Raymond Felton State Farm.
Have you compared insurance rates lately? Are you satisfied with your current insurance provider? If not, look no further than Ray Felton State Farm, a proud sponsor of Sports on Tap. For a free quote, call his office at 234-284-2996 or visit him online at rayfelton.com.
Whether you're hosting a corporate event, wedding, conference, concert, or any other special gathering, our comprehensive range of services will exceed your expectations and elevate your event to new heights. RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
Hand-and-built leather goods. Leather goods built for life. Made by hand in the USA, all goods are made with veg-tanned leather. Some of the best quality around and made by a U.S. veteran. Check out their website, www.handbuiltleather.com.
We've got the experience, the passion, and the beach to make your event a smash hit. Whether it's a romantic wedding, a lively sports venue, or a rocking high school dance, Troutland Entertainment has you covered. Contact them at 330-414-4261 or email them at troutlandent@gmail.com. That's troutlandent@gmail.com.